Yeah, we'll do one more quick one. This is a 64-year-old female with the asymptomatic 5.5 juxtarenal AAA found incidentally. Again, as it might be common to a lot of these patients, she's O2 dependent, COPD, hypertension, hyperlipidemia, former 30-year pack-year smoker. And physical exam, nothing concerning. She does have palpable pulses, good peripheral pulses. Normal CBC, and she does have normal renal function. Pre-op CTA showed not only the 5.5 juxtarenal AAA with a less than 5 millimeter neck, but also small and diffusely stenotic access vessels. So we'll go down here. And again, right at the level of the renal arteries, we see an immediate aneurysmal degeneration. A little bit of a bend there. And as we get to the access vessels, we see they're, very small, less than 7 millimeters or so. And they remain kind of diffusely small for the extent of the iliacs and going into the common femorals. We'll take another look at this in a coronal view. And this demonstrates how little neck we actually have at this level. We'll go through that once more. Pretty much right up to the level of the renal arteries. So, so I believe it was around the high 20s, low 30s. I don't remember the exact diameter, but it's not more than 30, not much more than 31 or 32 available for the okay for the available devices. So again, numerous options were discussed. In open repair, again, would be suboptimal, given the patient's O2 dependent COPD. And I guess before we go into that, I could again open the floor to questions before jumping right ahead. What people would do. So again, there's a juxtarenal AAA, again, with, let's say, very small access vessels of about, let's go 6 millimeters or so, maybe 7 millimeters.
So do we have access to renal profile illustrated or perhaps just in the US? We don't. We have some document of things to come in the US. But that would obviously be a nice solution for that. I don't know if a regular US grown fenestrated device couldn't fit up those iliacs. Deja vu from yesterday.
Thank.
I give it the dilator test, I tell you. But if that didn't work, then a low profile device and perhaps a chimney technique would be optimal.
Did she have an accessory renal on the left also?
So she had a, yeah. Yeah, there we go. That's true, yeah. So thankfully, again, this is being presented at the morning conference and not the cases I wish I didn't do. So, as might be implied by the questions we're asking, we decided to go with a low-profile device and just do a chimney since we didn't think it would be amenable to the standard, advanced branched or fenestrated devices for such pathology. We did do this via bilateral perclose techniques in both common femoral arteries and the left axillary cut down. And this is the initial diagnostic aortogram. And we see SMA coming down, renals right and left, and that accessory that was mentioned before.
Do we have an angiogram with the lateral view just to know the origin of the superior mesenteric artery?
I don't know, one was done. I do not believe it's in this presentation, unfortunately. I apologize. So the left side looked a little more amenable than the right side, maybe by the fraction of like a 0.5 millimeter or so. And the main body was delivered from the left-hand side. And again, we see our graft in relation to everything else. We partially deployed the suprarenal fixation stents, and we cannulated the right renal artery from the axillary access. So again, this is kind of the top stents here, just for the people who have not used this device too frequently, as opposed to the regular covered stent grafts that you expect to see. There's not a whole lot of radioopacity to parts of the main body before the filling of the polymer. So if you can imagine it, it's right in this area. This isn't just like a free-floating stent right here. So the right renal was cannulated, and then the same was done to the left. Again, this is the same technique that we frequently use, floppy glide wire, angled glide cath, and then eventually using the Rosen wire as our working wire for the deployment of the stent grafts. So for this, again, we used covered atrium ICAS stents, putting those into the bilateral renal arteries. Again, left and right. And at this point, having preserved the renal arteries and extending our fixation zone proximally, we're able to inject the polymer into the ovation main body. And now we start to see the radioopacity as it fills. And now we deploy the stents as this is hardening. Right side's already deployed, left side is about to be deployed. And we still see good filling of both renals. We deployed bilateral iliac limbs. And the completion angiogram shows a complete exclusion of the aneurysm, filling of the renal arteries and hypogastrics, and no endo leak. The groins were closed percutaneously. The axillary artery, again, was closed primarily. And she was discharged post-op day 2. At her 1-year follow-up, aneurysm sac decreased in size to 5 centimeters from 5.5, no endo leaks, and the renal stents were widely patent. Creatinine was entirely stable at 0.6 from 0.66 post-op. Questions?